Welcome back everyone to the Division. Today I was going to make a brief video on how to get the best armor and weapons setup you possibly can for different situations. Mainly for the Dark Zone, because that's what everyone seems to want to do, because that's the best thing in this game at the moment. So we're going to have a look at the different stats you can get on your different piece of armor and what the best stats would be for certain situations. So we'll first off have a look at the mask. So obviously there's a number of different talents you can have. I can't tell you what the best talent will be for each piece of weapon, because that will depend on certain situations. So it'll depend on whether you want a PvP, whether you want a PvE, or a mixture of both. There are a number of different talents that'll work for each type of situation you want to be in. So first of all, you always will have your firearms, stamina, electronics on every piece of weapon, every piece of armor. I'm assuming everyone knows that, so I won't go over that. On your mask, you can have, with every piece of armor, you can have a major attribute, a minor attribute, and then a skill attribute, which is the bottom one here, and that gives you a little buff to some of your skills. It doesn't really matter which ones you get on this, just try to get the one that you think will benefit you the most, because it does give you the least benefit out of all the stats. The minor attributes will always be something like blind or death resistance, scavenging, increased kill XP, enemy armor damage, burn resistance or disorient resistance. So just use ones that you think will be most helpful in your situation for all of the minor attributes on the pieces of armor, every piece of armor. The main ones I'm going to be talking to you about today are the major attributes. So, on a mask, you can get critical hit chance, damage to elites, health on kill, exotic damage resilience, health, skill power, and a gear mod slot. So, masks always have one gear mod slot. So, you don't really want to get another gear mod slot unless you know for certain you are going to be able to get an excellent gear mod to put into that slot. There are a vast amount of really good gear mods that you can get that'll be more beneficial than the other major attributes in this area, but they can take quite a long time to get the materials and the luck to build the exact ones you will need. So starting off, I would say definitely always go for critical hit chance for the mask, because the more times you crit, the more damage you're going to do. That is probably going to be more beneficial to you than damage to elites, unless you're going to specifically just go for PvE. If you're going to just go for PvE, either go for damage to elites or exotic damage resilience, because that will just benefit you for PvE. But if you want to do a bit of both, definitely go for critical hit chance. That's why I went for that on this mask here. So, for your body armor, you have two major attributes and then one minor one. So you will always have a gear mod slot. Well, you have three major attributes, I believe. Let's have a look. I believe you can get three major attributes. Two major attributes, a minor attribute, and two skill attributes. So yeah, you'll always have one gear mod slot. And then, for the other ones, it'll be, you can either get health, armor, damage to elites, protection from elites, or health on kill in the first major attribute slot. I would recommend getting armor to this, because that is going to benefit you overall for every situation. Armor is probably the best one for this situation. It'll make sure that weapon damage reduction is as high as it can be. So this isn't the best roll for me at the moment. I would prefer, instead of health, to have an armor roll there. So yeah, definitely go for armor first, and then think about damage to elites or protection from elites as a second and third option if you aren't able to get that armor roll. For your Next, major attribute roll. I would either go for damage to elites or exotic damage resilience, protection from elites, one of those, because that's the second best option. You might want to go for health instead, like I have here, but overall I think you might want to go armor and then some sort of damage or damage resilience there. For this third slot, which is your minor attribute, you will definitely want to go for ammo capacity instead of kill XP, unless you're still leveling up and you really want to level up quickly. Ammo capacity is always a very great help. And then you have your mobile cover damage and your gear mod slot. I know that you can also get another gear mod slot, I believe, in one of these sections. You can't re-roll it to that, but I believe you can get another gear mod slot on your body armor if you really want to. So if you have really, really good gear mods that are much better than the rolls, you can make your character a lot better with another gear mod roll. But you have to get very lucky in order to do that. For the backpack, you definitely want the critical hit damage here. It is one of the, I believe it's the only piece of gear that can give you critical hit damage. So, as a number one priority, you want that critical hit damage. Then, as you can see, there is an option of armor, skill power, skill haste, and signature ability resource gain. I would recommend armor as a secondary. So, if you couldn't get the critical hit damage, go for armor instead. And then as a third option, skill power. But I would definitely go for the critical hit damage if you can get it. It is the best option here, overall. And then just pick whatever you believe is best for you. I wanted ammo capacity here, but I wasn't able to roll it with the resources I had, so I will keep trying until I do get that ammo capacity, I believe. And then in the last two, it's just personal preference. Whatever skills and abilities you believe is better for your playstyle. For the gloves, these are the only... another one that can get critical hit damage, and they can also get critical hit chance. So gloves, you definitely want to roll critical hit chance and critical hit damage if you can. Because you can get damage to elites, critical hit chance, SMG damage, shotgun damage, assault rifle damage, LMG damage, marksman rifle damage, pistol damage, all the different weapon types damages. You want critical hit chance, preferably, because that will increase your crit ratio, which is a major buff to your damage. And then you want the critical hit damage as high as you possibly can here. And then for your third option, probably just go for the damage for the weapon that you specifically use. So for me, I would like the SMG damage, because I'm currently using the Vector AMP 45. So I would want SMG damage here. So yeah, so first and second option are critical hit damage and critical hit chance. Then the weapon damage of your choice, I'd recommend, for those three major slots there. And then for the minor slot, once again, just whatever roll you can get that'll help you out with your skills. For your holster, you can get protection from elites, armor, skill haste, pistol damage, or a gear mod slot. Once again here, depending on your build, if you have excellent gear mods, definitely go for the gear mod slot. That is one of the best buffs you can get on this piece of gear here. If you can get that gear mod slot and you have the really good gear mods to put in there, definitely go for it. If not, I would recommend the armor. More armor means less bullet damage to your character. Once again, whatever you want to do for the minor attribute, because that will just buff one of your skills in a certain way. Finally, for the knee pads, we have either exotic damage resilience, a gear mod slot, damage to elites, protection from elites, critical hit damage, and health for the first major attribute slot. I would definitely say get critical hit damage. That will increase your damage significantly. If you can't get that, the gear mod slot is also a good option if you have the gear mods to improve it with. If you don't have the gear mods, do not get the gear mod slot. It will not benefit you if you put a really crappy gear mod into this slot in place of critical hit damage. Then, for the second major attribute, you can have armor, damage to elites, protection from elites, critical hit damage. So if you don't have critical hit damage there, get it here. Critical hit damage and armor, I would recommend. Or critical hit damage and a gear mod slot. Your choice. One of the two. So, the three best options for you on your knee pads. Critical hit damage, gear mod slot, and armor. Don't get anything else. Just those three. They are the ones you need on your... to increase your damage and your tankiness. Which will help you survive in both PvE situations and Dark Zone situations. Once again, here... I'm currently going with scavenging because I'm trying to find better yellow gear. So, otherwise, you could go for any of the resistances that you believe will help in your situation. Or enemy armor damage. That does help increase damage a little because it cuts through enemy armor. Once again here, another minor slot. Just pick whatever you believe will be best for your situation. Same for this one, and also for the skill slot. Just whatever one you roll, that will increase the skills that you use. So they're the recommendations for the armor rolling. Now I'm going to quickly look at weapons. So currently at the moment, SMGs get a ridiculous buff with a plus 25 with plus critical hit chance. So with your critical, definitely have an SMG. That is not an option. If you want to compete, you need to have one of your weapons as an SMG. That extra critical hit chance is just brutal. Literally brutal. It increases damage significantly. Then, my recommendations for talents. Definitely get the talent of Brutal. Headshot damage is increased by 24% when using this weapon. It is excellent. Destructive is also very helpful, cutting through any armor that your opponents may have. I would not, if I could pick anything to re-roll this with, it would be critical hit damage. There is a talent, I'm not sure the name of it at the moment, but there is a talent that increases your critical hit damage, and there's one that increases critical hit chance. If you can roll one of these in place of this talent here, that would be a very good weapon at the moment. Brutal, destructive, and either crit chance increase or crit damage increase. That would be an excellent weapon. So if I could re-roll that slightly, that would increase that immensely. You could also go for accurate. That's a fairly good talent as well. It increases it by 46%. There we go. Deadly, that's what it's called. Critical hit damage increased. That's the one I want in place of my skilled. I want deadly on that instead. But I wasn't able to, so I'm going to re-roll a few more times and see if I can get a better one. But so far that's the best Vector 45 ACP I've been able to get. I like a marksman's rifle as my secondary at the moment. I probably will change this in the future because this is currently a bit of a PvE sort of weapon. It's a bit difficult to use in a PvP situation considering most PvPs are up close and personal. So I was going to probably go for a shotgun or an assault rifle, maybe. Maybe an LMG in this case. But sniper rifles are definitely very good for PvE if that's what you plan on doing. So, now that we've talked about the gear, let's briefly mention abilities. So, currently I have my PvP abilities on. So, in PvP, this is a must. You definitely must take Survivor Link. It is the best and only option. I'm not even going to talk about the other options because they do nothing compared to this. 80% damage reduction. That is immense. You basically are unkillable when you have this on. Compared to a 50% damage buff, if that was going to compete at all, it would have to be exactly the same in order to make Survivor Link null and void, but it doesn't, so I would recommend not getting that unless you're able to surprise someone sneakily and take them out before they can activate this. And this is just pretty much useless unless you're in a PvE situation. That can be good for PvE, but not PvP. PvP, your health just gets shredded too quickly. So for PvP at the moment, I'm using Pulse with the... Look at the ability, the modification, with the Tactical Scanner modification. It increases the damage when attacking any hostile targets identified by the Pulse scan. So in PvP, I can go rogue, or people that are rogue, I scan them and I get a major buff to my critical hit chance of 16%, up to 20%, and my crit damage by up to 47%. So that is an immense damage buff. Along with my first aid. If I activate this as well, with the booster shot on, it temporarily increases my damage for the affected targets in addition to the normal healing effect. So, along with that major buff with the pulse, I can activate this and get even more damage onto my target. That enables you to shred your targets super quickly while being so tanky with this Survivor Link that you're basically undefeatable. So they're the skills I would recommend in PvP, so for Dark Zone. I know I don't have any... This is more of like maybe a solo build. If you're going for groups, you could probably go for control effects like the turret with the stun, or the Seeker Mine with the extra explosions. Over here, the cluster. That's probably a bit more like control. So you're able to control the fights in like bigger groups. This is more of just a single build. So if you wanted more control, you could go for that. The talents. These are the only talents I'd recommend for PvP. So, the on the move. So kill a hostile while moving to reduce incoming damage by 30% for 10 seconds. When have you ever been in the Dark Zone and someone's been hiding behind a wall or in cover and you've killed them? Basically never. If you're in cover and someone's coming towards you, you're in a deep load of trouble. Unless you get out of there and start bobbing and weaving. So most of the time in PvP, in the Dark Zone, the people are bobbing and weaving. They're not standing in cover, waiting for you to come to them. Unless they're trying to ambush you, in which case you're screwed anyway. So, definitely have on the move. Secondly, one is none. A headshot a hostile to have a 50% chance of not consuming the bullet. So with your SMG, you tend to go through your mags pretty quickly. If you're able to get a lot of headshots, you'll get a 50% greater mag. More than likely with this ability. Another 50% more bullets to put into someone. So if you're accurate, you're gonna get so many more bullets down the line and the people are definitely gonna die. Then this is for your survival. These two in combination are crazy. Yeah, that's all I can say. So, you use a medkit during low health to increase damage resistance by 40% for 10 seconds. So, when you get down to 1 bar, you activate this, you activate your medkit, and 40% less damage to you. That is amazing. Then, this one, use a combat medic. Use a medkit near allies to heal group members and proxies within 20 meters by 40%. I've tested this out multiple times, and you are included in this. You get an extra 40% healing from your medkits when you have this ability on. I don't care if anyone tells you in the comments that this is wrong. I've tested it out. It is right. You get an extra 40% healing on yourself when no one's around when you have this ability on. So these two in combination are insane. This is a must. If you're not going to pick the other two abilities over here, definitely take these two. These two are a must for everybody, and then you can sort of play around with the other ones if you want, but I believe this is the best build at the moment for Dark Zone situations. Most definitely. The other two abilities could be changed for PvE situations, but I find them a bit handy at the moment as well. So, that's about it at the moment. Yep. So, for your for the mods you put on your weapons, I don't really have very many good mods at the moment, so I'm not going to show you those, but anything that increases crit damage, crit chance, stability is a must. It makes it so much easier to shoot people in the head constantly if your gun doesn't recoil all over the place. So stability is a must. And that's about it, I believe. Yep, so definitely critical hit damage, stability, critical hit chance, headshot damage maybe, definitely. Mag size, that is also another good one. Mag size along with critical hit damage, along with stability, they are your best options for increasing your gun's damage output. So, if you found this a helpful guide, leave a like, comment and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next video. I hope you enjoyed. See you.